speak for everyone when I say you already feel like one of us.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 horror thriller The Visitor. The film's directed by Justin P. Lang and it stars Finn Jones, Jessica McNamee, Thomas Francis Murphy and Dane Rhodes. Now the film focuses on a married couple, Robert and Maya. Now, Maya's American and Robert is from London. Now, they met in London, they lived together in London, and they got married in London. However, she's from like a small town in America, and they decide to move back there after her father dies in order for her to take possession of the family home. Robert obviously comes with her. It's a new environment for him. He's from the UK, but the locals welcome him a little bit too much, and he soon becomes aware, strangely, that there's quite a few paintings in his house and around the town of a chap that looks remarkably like him, but this guy is somebody who is well known within this town many decades previously. This all seems really, really strange, and things start to get a little bit creepier, a little bit stranger, until he realises, potentially too late, that something really sinister may indeed be going on. Right, what are my thoughts on The Visitor? Well, this is a Blumhouse production, I believe, so there is a certain amount of polish going on with this film, and I think while... Let's get to the bones of it, really. I didn't particularly like this film, I'm not going to lie. The production values, the polish, the direction at times, and certainly, the performances are all absolutely of a good standard. I can't really complain about any of that. But ultimately, the plot and the story absolutely catapults this film off a cliff. Now, the premise was certainly interesting to me. This guy from London with his wife moving back to her hometown after her father passes, taking up the family home. It's a kind of trope that we've seen a few times in films, similar tropes. And then, creepy town syndrome starts kicking in. Some of the locals are acting really, really weird and creepy and overly friendly. Some of them are overly friendly with him and some of them are really quite terrified of him. So there's some creepy stuff going off, and then these pictures with this person in this picture that looks exactly like him that frightens and confuses this guy. You've got this pastor who is behaving really creepy around him and everybody else. So you kind of in your head have got an idea of where this is going. There's going to be potentially cult stuff going off left, right and centre. And you may be there for more sinister purposes. And then... apparently this guy in the picture is called The Visitor, hence the title, clearly. And you're kind of thinking, okay, the setup and the premise are decent here. If the rest of the film unravels and is satisfying and makes sense, we could have a decent film here. Unfortunately, that just isn't the case. What unravels here is a mess of a film. You don't really get to know who this visitor is and what he represents. And I didn't necessarily really understand his connection to this visitor. It's one of those films that almost... You watch it and you kind of think, did I miss something? Did somebody explain something to me and I missed it? Or is this film just really, really poor at explaining itself to us? And to be honest, I think it's the latter. Usually, I will give my attention to most films unless they're really terrible, and I struggle then. But I don't think this was really terrible, certainly initially. But I thought when this got to the business end of the film, where you started wanting answers and you started wanting, this is a horror at the end of the day, and you started wanting some scary horror stuff to start happening. We don't get anything that is either A, frightening, or B, satisfactory in any way, shape or form. In actual fact, you're left at the end of this film scratching your head as to what in actual fact you've just watched. So you're not sure what it is you've just watched. You're not sure if it's something you've missed. And then you just end up finishing the film being really, really frustrated with what you just watched. And to be honest, it narked me a little bit by the end of this film, because I just thought that I'd wasted like an hour and a half of my time. And I don't like it when a film does that, you know what I mean? Because it's one of those films, like I say, because of the production values and the polish that's gone into it and the performances, it deserved better, in my opinion. And it's just nothing. It's one of those films that once this review goes up and stuff, it's one of those films that I'll look back in a couple of years when I look at my films that I've ruined, I'll be like, I don't remember that film. What was that film about? There's nothing memorable about this film because it makes nothing memorable. It is so generic and middle of the road, and it's just kind of like, by the end of the film, it's almost like it throws its hands in the air and says, I give up. This is the ending we're going to give you. These are the explanations we're going to give you. Deal with it. But unfortunately, it's just not satisfactory. And to be honest, it was a real letdown for me, because there were times in this film it was hovering towards a 6 out of 10 in my opinion, because I was quite invested early on, and then, like I say, it just absolutely fell off a cliff about halfway through, a little bit more beyond maybe, and for me it just was not satisfactory at all. So, which is why I've scored it the way I've scored it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.